You know the story. I'm sorry I have to drag you through this again, but I just have to set this up with the truth of what happened. Okay. A throng of extremists gather together in the mall in Washington. A politician comes out and just starts spouting lies and untruths and blah, 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 blah. You know, then everybody gets together and there's, an insurrection. They go into the Capitol. They try to block official proceedings. And then, in this case, nothing will happen because it's not Donald Trump. I want you to listen to Rashida Tlaib and what she said yesterday in Washington, D.C., just before there was any kind of insurrection at the Capitol. Listen.
Continue to watch people think it's okay to bomb a hospital where children... You know what's so hard sometimes is watching those videos and the people telling the kids don't cry. I'm like, let them cry. And they're shaking, and somebody, this, they keep telling them not to cry in Arabic.
My gosh, there she is.
They can cry. I can cry. We all can cry. If we're not crying, something is wrong.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling you right now.
Right. So there
President
she is.
Biden, not all America's with you on this one.
Wow.
And you need to wake up and understand that.
Is she threatening then she's threatening the president. This angry extremist crowd then goes to the Capitol and they fill the House building. Do we have any of the video or there it is. Look at this. They have taken over the House and they are trying to disrupt proceedings. Oh, my goodness. It is an insurrection. Now, you would say, well, the thing with Donald Trump was he was lying to the people about, he lost the election. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Well, the one thing you don't have is actual proof that he was lying or lying knowingly. You had a lot of people tell him, but I can't play the video for you. But in this particular case, I can play the video for you. In fact, it sucks to be Hamas. There's an audio translation of eavesdropping on Hamas the night the hospital was bombed. And here's what they picked up. Listen. I'm telling you, this is the first time we see a missile like this falling. And so that's why we're saying it belongs to the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. What? They're saying it belongs to the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Is it from us? Looks like it. Who says this? They're saying that the shrapnel from the missile is local shrapnel and not Israeli shrapnel. What are you saying? God bless. It could have found another place to explode. Never mind. Yes, they shot it from a cemetery behind the hospital. What? They shot it from the cemetery behind the hospital. It misfired and fell on them. There's a cemetery behind it? Yes. It's in the compound. Where is it when you enter the compound? You first enter the compound. Don't go towards the city. It's on the right side. Oh, yeah, I know it. Okay. That's Hamas confirming themselves to another Hamas member. Yeah, looks like us. Because they're firing behind the hospital. Oh. Wow. Okay. That's pretty bad.
Well, they should have made this information that you're talking about available to the media. Then they could have corrected their reports.
Yeah, they did. They did. And they also showed the video of it being launched and then landing on the hospital. So
Only from multiple different angles, though. They should have, why didn't they? You ever see like one of those cool movies, like an action movie, and they put like a camera right on the missile, and so it's flying and it's going right at the person, and then you're like, ah! Why don't they show us that camera view? They won't even show us
that. Yeah, exactly right. So, Rashida Tlaib, is anything going to happen? Is anything going to happen to her? She going to be impeached for inciting an insurrection? Anything? I just want you to know.
Does she at least get a nomination for Best Actress out of it? I mean,
that's a really
that's
good
the least we could do.
It was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, is that an audio of her?
It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was inspired by her performance.
That's really good. So let me just take you through some things that are happening on college campuses because of this. Here are University of Pennsylvania students chanting in favor of Hamas. I just want you to hear what they're saying.
We are doing genocide. We are doing genocide.
Yeah. There it is. Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. And the last part of it, there's only one solution. What is that solution?
Would it maybe the final one?
Maybe the final solution?
The final solution?
I don't know. That's a stretch to think they might have been reaching for that. I mean, they're chanting about a final solution at the University of Pennsylvania. If you have a kid there, bring them home. Bring them home. Stop paying them. You have a kid in a university, stop it. Stop. What are you doing? Sincerely, what are you doing?
What's the line there? Because obviously
if that college is doing anything like this, what are you doing?
Yeah. If they're allowing that to go on. I mean, look, we all talked about in history how the First Amendment protects, let's say, the KKK from having a rally, right?
Yes.
But I don't think it protects them from calling for genocide of African Americans, does it? I don't think so. It's calling for outward violence on a megaphone seems a little bit more direct than what they've attempted to charge Donald Trump with on January 6th.
Yeah.
Where he says, hey, peacefully go to the Capitol. And they're like, that means he wanted to overthrow the government.
So there's a great article today. I'd love to get this woman on, but I don't know if she would come on. I want you to listen to this op-ed. This is from the New York Post. The blatant anti-Semitism on college campuses has shocked millions of Americans over the past week and a half, but not me. I saw anti-Semitism on a weekly basis in my 2 years as a faculty diversity, equity, and inclusion director. In fact, I can safely say that toxic DEI ideology deliberately stokes hatred towards Israel and the Jewish people. I was hired to head the DEI department at Silicon Valley's De Anza College in 2021. As a black woman, I was the perfect person for the job, on paper. Yet I made the mistake of actually trying to create an authentically inclusive learning environment for everybody, including the Jewish students. Turns out a toxic form of DEI, which is more accurately called critical social justice, demanded I do the opposite. Before I got to campus, Jewish students had endured a litany of hateful and hostile acts. The school had hosted a Hanukkah party that featured no Hanukkah imagery, but plenty of pro-Palestinian protesters. The student body had passed resolutions on divesting from Israel, the first college of its kind to do so, and criticizing Israel's attacks against humanity, quote, end quote. Multiple Jewish students told me that the campus was essentially an anti-Semitic environment. I tried to right this wrong. First, I hosted Jewish speakers on campus with the goal of promoting diversity and inclusion by sharing different perspective. Critics called me, quote, a dirty Zionist, and the school refused to promote the events. Then I pushed the administration to issue strong condemnation of anti-Semitism. My request was refused. Some campus leaders and colleagues repeatedly told me I shouldn't raise issues about Jewish inclusion or anti-Semitism. I was told in no uncertain terms that Jews are white oppressors, and our job as faculty and staff members was to decenter whiteness. I was astounded, but I shouldn't have been. At its worst, DEI is built on the unshakable belief that the world is divided into two groups of people, the oppressors and the oppressed. Jews are categorically placed in the oppressor category, while Israel is branded a genocidal settler, a colonialist state. In this worldview, criticizing Israel and the Jewish people is not only acceptable, but praiseworthy, just as it's okay to attack America and white people. If you don't go after them, or worse, if you defend them, you're actively abetting racist oppression. I've never encountered a more hostile environment towards the members of any racial, ethnic, or religious group. I was ultimately fired by De Anza College, and I suspect my defense of Jewish students played a part. Yet I've subsequently found that my experience is not unique. Countless faculty and students on campuses nationwide have told me DEI ideology encourages anti-Semitism. One study found 96% of Israel-focused tweets by campus DEI staff criticized the Jewish state. 96%. And that was before Hamas launched its brutal assault on Israel this month. Now the colleges and universities beholden to DEI are hurting Jewish students and their silence, their moral equivocation about terrorism against Israel, or their outright praise of the terrorists. Many of the student groups most invested in DEI are actively siding with Hamas. Look no further than White Coats for Black Lives, a national group of medical students with chapters in more than 100 public and private universities. On Tuesdays, just after Hamas murdered Jewish families in their beds, the DEI-driven group proudly declared it has long supported Palestine's struggle for liberation. How could a Jewish patient ever trust a medical trainee or a professional who subscribes to such blatant anti-Semitic hatred? It's tantamount to threatening their lives, and it raises questions about whether such hate-filled people should even be allowed to practice medicine. Why? They did it in Germany. It was fine. This outpouring of anti-Semitic hatred is a direct result of DEI's insistence that Jews are oppressors. What started with rhetorical attacks has morphed into defending and calling for violent attacks. It's inevitable for an ideology that demeans an entire group of people while accusing them of perpetrating massive injustice. When you stoke that kind of division and anger, you unleash fires you cannot control. Sure enough, the fire of anti-Semitism is now burning bright on college campuses. It needs to be extinguished immediately so it doesn't spread and do more damage. I know just the place to start. Administrators and lawmakers need to get toxic DEI out of higher education. If they don't, there will be no true diversity and inclusion on campus, but there will be even more shocking hatred towards the Jews.